Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got Joe Rogan exposing. This is going to be like a nail in the coffin. This is just a nice victory lap. Just CNN calling out Kamala Harris. I love it. I love it. It's just a little victory lap, folks. We're just having fun here. But also, I'm going to be putting on my tinfoil Speedo. Real secure. I brought the one with the strings, the drawstrings, and I'm tightening it up. I'm just warning you guys before we get into the episode. Joe Rogan's going to talk a little bit about CNN and how it makes money along with them calling out Kamala Harris. And then I'm going to show you what Trump did and what Kamala Harris did and how vastly different it is. And then we're going to get into some real tinfoil Speedo talk, okay? I got to get this out. But let's start with the Joe Rogan clip, of course. Let's go.
We got footprint everywhere.
100%.
And we're backing people that sometimes are people we align with our values. A lot of times they're not, right? Like the whole Israel-Gaza thing is a big problem for Harris. It's a major issue for her in Michigan. And
Interesting.
Yeah, it's big.
Did you see the reports that she was running two separate messages to two separate places? She was running a pro-Israel message to one place, and CNN called her out on it.
Yeah.
And running a pro-Palestine message to another place.
A lot of them do. That's
crazy that people are not going to check. And it's crazy that CNN called her on it.
Yeah.
Do I have hope for CNN? Like, I think I do.
Yeah.
I think CNN probably recognizes, hey, we have to actually just say the news, except for pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
But everything else, just say the news.
And I don't know what Trump will do in that situation with the Israelis.
I hope Elon buys CNN.
I hope that we don't invade Iran.
I should have asked him yesterday if he was going to buy CNN. That would be amazing. Imagine if
Elon
Elon bought
you think
CNN.
he'll buy CNN?
Why
Does
not?
CNN make any money?
It's worth a lot of money.
Is it?
Yeah, because you think about the money that they generate through advertising.
But it's all the pharmaceutical ad. That's the problem. So if he buys
That's
CNN,
not all, but it's a large chunk. But the thing is, like, that money is real money. That's what keeps them afloat. Like, so if their numbers, if they had exist on YouTube, like if CNN's numbers existed on YouTube, there's no way they'd be able to support a giant building filled with employees.
Well, wouldn't he be beholden to the same corporate advertisers that hold everybody hostage? Meaning, like, the biggest advertiser in all of these cable networks is pharmaceutical companies because they're all the demographic is geriatric people watching them.
Well, the problem is that you can advertise for pharmaceutical drug companies in this country, and only 2 countries in the world allow it. Us and New Zealand, and New Zealand's more restrictive than the United States.
Like, have you ever watched the ads on Fox News? It's crazy. It's all like Life Alert. It's like fall down in the shower.
Well, it's all
pharmaceuticals.
Scared. Fox News. If you think about it, the demographic is older, scared white people. that's what I think about when I think of Fox News.
Yeah, so I guess you just got to find a way to make it profitable without those types of ads, or those companies have to let you.
But this is my point. I think it's a Ponzi scheme. I don't think it is profitable without those kinds of ads.
No, it won't be.
Because it's not profitable based on the viewership, right? So you can get major advertisers who are willing to spend a lot of money for the prestige of being on CNN. There's something to that. You know, like an ad on CNN maybe means more than an ad on YouTube. But the reality is, if you look at the actual numbers, like how much revenue you're generating for your company, unless you are engaged purely in propaganda, and this is the argument. So, like, what was the quote that someone said to us the other day about how it was Callie Means said how much the pharmaceutical drug companies spend on advertising every year, and it's billions of dollars just on ads, billions and billions of dollars. I think was it 8 or 80? What did he say it was? Jamie will find it. But
it's got to be crazy.
It's an insane amount of money. But that money is not making them money in terms of so many people are seeing those ads are going out and buying drugs. What that is doing is it's ensuring that there's no criticism. It's ensuring that you don't question any narratives.
That's right.
That all the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. types, they all get demonized. They all get called kooks. They all get called dangerous anti-science people.
By the way, I'm excited. You know, if Trump wins, I'm excited to see if RFK really gets to like start.
Look at that money.
Doing
Look at that number. 2023, pharmaceutical industry spent around $15.58 billion in advertising. $15 billion in ads. That is crazy. That's so much money, man.
Well, how are people going to know about the drugs?
It's not that, man. I don't think
No,
it's
I'm
that.
kidding.
I think
Of
it's a
course.
little bit of that because it normalizes it. It gets the words out, whatever.
Well, we also don't have a
Ozempic.
functioning healthcare system.
Right.
So it's not supposed to be like a grocery store where you pick the drug.
It does, if you have a good doctor,
Right.
you can have a functioning healthcare system.
Yeah.
But you got to have some cash.
You
have
know,
to
that's
know-
the problem. It's
yeah.
like we have everything's for profit. Everything's like there's a million. You ever go to a pharmacy in like a Scandinavian country? There's like 12 things.
All right, let's get right into it. Now, I'm going to show you the whole Kamala Harris getting called out by CNN. By this woman. This, you know what? This is a tinfoil Speedo episode because I got a theory about this woman because she's a straight up propagandist. Let's get into it.
A K-file investigation this hour finds Kamala Harris is targeting crucial battleground voters with vastly different messages on Gaza and Israel. This ad is running in Michigan, which has the largest Arab population in America.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
All right, well, it's a very different story for an ad in Pennsylvania targeting Jewish voters.
Let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7.
Different message. Andrew Kaczynski is out front now. So, Andrew, those obviously do sound starkly different, to say the least. Tell me more about what you found.
Yeah, that's right. And look, this really illustrates the sort of fine line that the Harris campaign is trying to walk here in the closing weeks, closing days of this campaign on the issue of Israel. Here you have two entirely different constituencies, and they are getting two entirely different messages. There are often times these constituencies have very opposing views on this. If you are a Jewish person in Pennsylvania, you saw that ad that you're getting. You are getting that ad that talks about how strong she is in Israel. If you're a Muslim voter in Michigan, you are getting that ad on Facebook that's talking about how she won't be silent on the issue of Gaza. Now, what's really interesting here is that ad that we just played, the one that's going to Jewish voters in Pennsylvania. Now, it sort of sounds like those two clips of her talking about Israel are together, but they actually cut part of it out. Take a listen to what they cut.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
And you've seen too that she, they cut out that portion of the ad where they talked about Gaza from her DNC speech. Those two parts were together. They sliced them. They cut that part out. Now, look, she's also getting hammered a lot on this issue by Republicans. We talked just a couple days ago about how those robocalls were airing in Wisconsin that are made to sound like they're in support of Jill Stein, talking about her position on Gaza, saying that they're highlighting her pro-Israel position, and they're sort of trying to siphon those votes away from her. So this is a really delicate issue for her.
Now, okay, so now I'm going to give you the normal answer, then I'm going to go tinfoil Speedo, okay? The normal answer is CNN is stepping it up, and they realize that they have to be a little, bipartisan. They need to get into the middle of things. They need to just bring you the news. They need to call it how they see it. There you go. That's your normal answer. Tinfoil Speedo time. I think they got the call. I think they got the call, and they were like, she's done. They're like, well, she's a cultural phenomenon. And the voice on the phone was like, shh. She's done. Attack her. I think that's what happened. Because if you notice, this is the exact same thing that they did with Joe Biden. As soon as it was time for Joe Biden to be gone, and everybody realized, they went on the attack. They started attacking Joe Biden. Even Van Jones, sniveling, crying over Trump getting elected, Van Jones started attacking Biden. It was very odd, right? And this woman right here, I mean, She's so bad. She's banned from multiple countries because they call her a propagandist. Her name's Erin Burnett. Burnett or Barrett? Burnett, I think. She's banned from countries. She's a straight up propaganda. I'm talking about whenever we talk about media talking heads. Don Lemon's known. Chris Cuomo's known. She is the worst of the worst. Hands down. Go check out her rap sheet. It's ridiculous. So for her to all of a sudden be attacking Kamala Harris, she's someone who just gets the marching orders. She does no research. She gets a call and says, "What is it?" And someone just says, "Purple Berry Ghost Town." And she just goes like a Manchurian candidate and just gets in front of the camera and just goes, "Well, it's time for me to tell you about Kamala Harris and what she's done so far." I'm just saying. That's what I think. I think she got the call. Now, I am going to show you, I'm going to go deeper into this whole thing, right? Then we'll get very tinfoil speedo, okay? But I just want to show you what Kamala did versus what Trump did. And Patrick Bet-David actually touches on it while he's sitting with Piers Morgan. Great conversation. And near the end, at about 39-45 seconds, they get into this little tidbit here.
Michigan come and endorse him. How do you sit there and say, I'm for Bibi and Israel and peace in the Middle East, and I want to stop all the wars, and you get Jew voters, Bill Ackman that converts and goes to you, and a bunch of other Jews that are coming for you, and you get Muslim. Do you realize how weird of a thing that is to get Muslim voters that are now more for Trump than they were 4 years ago, and getting more Jews that are for Trump than they were 4 years ago? Isn't it supposedly Democrats that get the Jew vote and a Muslim vote? Most Muslims vote Democrat. Most Jews vote Democrat. They're now leaving, and blacks are leaving. Aren't Democrats the political party that owns the black vote? They own the black vote.
I do think one of the most fascinating parts of this election is Trump, the increase in support for Trump in black and Latino communities is extraordinary. I mean, he's supposed to be the most racist guy that's ever run for president. But if he is, why are so many more black and Latino people in America racing to vote for him? The two positions are incompatible.
Yeah, because, this is the first time, Piers, guy asked me a question, who you should vote for. I said, I don't want to tell you who to vote for, but let me give you something here, that 2024 is the easiest time to vote.
Of course it was. Happened in a landslide. Now, I just show that because he's 100% right. This is what I didn't even know rabbis had a chief. Chief rabbis of Israel endorsing and praying for Donald Trump. And then they released this whole statement talking about how Trump needs to be president and they're praying for him and everything. The chief. I didn't know rabbis had a chief. And then you see this.
We spent millions of dollars selling ideas, talking to people, millions of hours, thousands of volunteers, connecting, finding commonality. And that no longer matters. Joe Biden is asleep at the wheel. Let's replace him. Let's have Kamala come in. That is a travesty. How is that happening in the United States of America? Whether you're Republican, Independent, or Democrat, how are we putting people on a pedestal and saying, this is the only option, this is the only flavor available today? That's why you see all these people in this room were former Democrats. We were die-hard supporters. Republicans had no opportunity, no room to come and talk to us because we were loyal to the Democratic Party, but that party is no longer loyal to us and no longer loyal to this country.
Incredible. This is Minnesota. This is tampon country right here. And these guys are saying this. Then on top of that, there was more of them that came forward and were saying this.
And the reason why is because he's a fighter. That's it. We like fighters. More importantly, the left left us. They left us. 33% of our kids at third grade cannot read at grade level. We went from the 6th to what, 19 now? In Minnesota in education? I mean, we are failing in every standard. 8th graders, 60% cannot do math at grade level.
And then you have even more Muslims. Look at this. Like, how did this happen?
As the president said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace.
From Michigan to Minnesota, Muslims, Jews, everybody standing with Trump. He puts out basically not the same message, but he does go to both sides. He says, I want to see people not die. I want to get this solved. He does the obligatory, Israel has the right to defend itself, and somehow he gets all the votes. Kamala Harris just gets called out. It's funny the way that happens, but Trump is actually talking about peace, whereas Kamala is actually talking about war. So it's interesting because he's saying they have the right to defend themselves, but he's like, I'm going to talk and they're going to stop, and then I'm going to go to the other side and they're going to stop. I know exactly what to do. He's talking very peace through strength, and Kamala was not doing that. She sounded like a war hawk when she was talking about her stuff. Now, I will say, this is where it gets very tinfoil speedo. We got to go back to CNN, okay? Joe, I think he was on the right path. I'm going to go a little deeper. He was saying it was a Ponzi scheme. Now, he was talking about how CNN, or the pharmaceutical companies, they're paying $15 billion a year for advertising. Here's what I think. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, you got your Speedo on or not? Okay, put it on. Okay, listen. Who owns those companies that are advertising on this news station, CNN? And then who has the biggest stake in CNN? You already know who it is. It's 3 companies. They kind of work together, but we usually just call them BlackRock. Sometimes if you're, you'll say State Street and, but we usually just say BlackRock. So the thing about it is CNN really worth that money? I don't think so. I think that if one giant corporation that has $1 trillion in assets that it runs has this CNN thing, they funnel $15 billion here, and then that company flourishes, CNN, although they don't get the full 15 billion, obviously. It's spread throughout the companies. But they get, let's just even say they get $4 billion. Okay, let's just say that. CNN gets $4 billion. It's worth it. Although they're not making any money, it's worth it for this giant corporation who owns these pharmaceutical companies to funnel that to CNN because they get to advertise and they get to control public opinion. That's worth billions of dollars. But the thing about it is, it's not really making, it's almost like a shell. It's like it's like a propaganda shell in reality. Just think about that. Who owns the major stake in CNN? It's BlackRock. Who owns a major stake in most of these pharmaceutical companies? It's BlackRock. So BlackRock's really just like, yeah, this is just our news thing that we advertise through and control public opinion through. That's all. So if we need to just spend a few $1 billion to keep the lights on, it's fine. And then we just make it look all good because we just advertise through it. That's just me. That's just me. Okay? I just got my tinfoil Speedo on. That's all I'm saying. That's what I think's going on with CNN. I think they're a necessary evil. I think it's not just that huge company, but also I think there's a couple of, governmental things that are involved as well. Twitter file style type stuff. And I think they're a necessary evil. And again, it goes back to controlling public opinion. Of course you're going to keep CNN afloat. Because in reality, a lot of these mainstream media companies, they should have died off a while ago. But just controlling public opinion is worth billions and billions and billions of dollars. You know what I mean? That's just what I think. I think they're a necessary evil in that they're being kept afloat by necessary evildoers. Actually, I shouldn't say necessary evildoers. I'll just say evildoers. That's what I think. Anyways, you could take off your tinfoil Speedos now, guys. Tinfoil time's done. Just wanted to bring you that information. Just wanted to have that little victory lap with Kamala Harris getting called out by CNN. You know it's over once you get called out by CNN. That's it. And I'm very glad that it's over. And I hope to not have to talk about Kamala Harris anymore. I know I'm going to have to here and there, but, feels good. Let's just start focusing where we need to focus. The current administration being demonized by the mainstream media with nothing but lies. That's what's going to happen. And if it's not, if they're on the right track, I'll call it out. I have no problem. I'll call out any administration if they're doing wrong. But I think what we're going to see more is the mainstream media just demonizing Trump as much as they possibly can. So anyways, guys, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, helps our channel tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.